Hi everyone, this is Ron, and in this video, I'm going to teach you how to write in Farsi. In college, I had this really amazing Farsi professor who got people like me who had no background reading or writing in Farsi, writing words within 2 or 4 weeks. So in this video, I'm going to try and put together everything he showed us in less than an hour. Okay, so the first thing to know about Farsi is that it's written right to left. And the second thing to know is that every letter in Farsi has 4 different forms, depending on if you're writing it at the beginning, the middle, or the end of the word. So the first letter is called Aleph. And it looks like this. So the initial form looks like this. The middle looks like this. The final connected looks like this, and the final separate looks like this. And Aleph makes the sound ah. The second letter is called be, which makes the B sound, b. The initial form looks like this. The middle form looks like this. And this is the final connected, and this is the final separate. So there are 2 kinds of letters in Farsi. One kind is called connectors, which means that they connect to other letters from both the right and the left. But the other kind is called non-connectors, which means they connect from the right, but they don't connect from the left. So if you write a non-connector and then you have another letter that comes after, you have to write this next letter in either the initial form or the final separate form. So with the words, the letters that we know, we can now write ba, which is the word for father. And we can also write ab, which is the word for water. So you can see from here that when Aleph connects from the right, you can actually connect it to the be. But when the be is on the left, you have to put the be in the final separate form. Alright, so the next letter is te, which makes the T sound. And it looks like this. And like be, it is a connector. So now you can write the word tob, which means swing. And you can also write the word ta, which means until. For example, if you want to say, I'll see you tomorrow, you can say ta farda. The next letter is pe, which makes the P sound. And it also has the same form as te and be, except it has 3 dots. So it is also a connector. So now you can write the word pop, as in the music genre. Okay, the next letter, which has the same form, is se, which has 3 dots on top, and it makes the S sound. So now you can write the word sabet. And sabet means steadfast, and it's also a very common last name in Farsi. Sabet. Okay, the next letter is jim. And jim makes the J sound. Oh, I forgot. So, Sabet also has a little invisible vowel here, the S sound. Alright, Jim. So, the initial Jim looks like this. And then the middle looks like this. The final connecting looks like this. And here is your final separate. So now you can write the word jaw, which is the word for place. And you can write jaw paw, which means footprint. And you can write the word Taj, which means king. All right. Next, we have che, which has the same form as jim, and it makes the ch sound. So everything is the same, except it has 3 dots. So now, you can write the word chop, which means print. Okay, the next one is called hejimi. And this makes the H sound. And then, same thing, except no dots. Okay, so now what can you write? You can write the word Hajj, which is the name of the pilgrimage that Muslims go on to Mecca. Okay, the next letter is khe, which makes a sound that's like KH together, khe. And that has 1 dot on the top. Oops, nope. So now, you can write the word oh, which in Farsi is the way to say ouch. Or, when you really like something, you can say oh, oh, oh. And you can write the word hajj, which means spade, like the sign that's on a card. Okay, so the next letter is called dal. Dal. Yeah, and dal makes the D sound, and it looks like a D as well. So dal is a non-connector, which means you can only connect another letter to it from the right side. So you can write the word boz. Bod, I'm sorry. Bod means wind. And then you can write the word abad, which is the adjective for organized. And you can write the word dod, which means a loud scream or an outcry, and the word ahad, which means all. Like if you want to say all the people, you could say ahad-e mardam. So you can see in all of these words, well, it's always at the end, but you never connect it from the left side. And the next letter has the same form as dal, but it's called zal. And it just has 1 dot on the top. Again, a non-connector. And this time, it makes the Z sound. So now, you can write the word boz, which means open. Oh, sorry, no. That's the wrong type of Z. Okay, you can write the word zot, which means personality. So if you want to say that someone has a bad personality, you could say they have bad zot. Bad zot. Yeah, they also just use the word bad to mean bad. And this has a little invisible vowel here for the ah sound. Bad zot. Okay, next we have re. And re makes the R sound. Re is also a non-connector, so you can only connect to it from the right side. Okay, so what can you write now? You can write the words dara, which means a rich person, tar, which is a Persian string instrument, ard, which means flour, like for cooking, and khar, which means thorn. Alright, the next letter is ze, which has the same form as re with a dot. So, once again, non-connector. And yes, there are multiple letters for some of the same sounds, like the S sound, the Z sound, and the T sound. And I think that's because, you know, the Farsi alphabet is taken from Arabic, and in Arabic, the sounds of these letters would actually be a little different, but in Farsi, they kind of just lost the differences between all the different kinds of Z's, so it's the same sound now, just with several different letters. Okay, so what can you write now? Okay, now you can write baz, which means open. Finally, you can write raz, which means a secret. And you can write razdar, which is the person you tell a secret to, and then they keep it. And then bazar, which means a market. All right, nice. Okay, and then we have je, which has the same form as re and ze, except 3 dots. And it makes that kind of J sound, like je, je. And once again, a non-connector. So only connect it from the right side. Okay, what can we write with the word je? Well, alright, you can write the word janvier, like, as in, the month, January, janvier. Except I had to use some letters I didn't teach you yet, because, yeah, I didn't prepare for that. Okay, Sheen. Sheen is another one that makes the S sound. And Sheen is a connector, so you would connect it from both sides. Okay, so what can you write? You can write toss, which means an 8-sided die. You can write saz, which means instrument, like a musical instrument. And you can write Sara, which is a girl's name. Sara. All right. So, the next one is the letter Sheen, which looks like Seen, except it has 3 dots, and it makes the SH sound. Sh. All right. Once again, it is a connector. Sheen. Okay, what can you write? You can write the word osh, which is a Persian kind of soup. You can write the word shad, which means happy. You can write the phrase shad bash, which means be happy, like if you want to tell somebody to cheer up. Shad bash. Let's see. Oh, now we can use je. You can write the word sharj, which means like charge from a battery. Sharj. And then sharj has a little invisible ah vowel here. Alright, so next we have sad. And sad, once again, also makes the S sound. And perhaps in Arabic, these would all be different versions of S, but in Farsi, they kind of lost the differences in the sound, so now they just make the same sound. So this one is a connector too. So you connect it from both the right and the left side. All right, let's see what this looks like in a word. What can we write? Oh, we can write the word seda, which is the word for voice or the word for sound. And seda has an invisible vowel. All right. The next one is zod. Zod. Which has the same form as sod with a dot, and now it makes the Z sound. Z. Also a connector. Okay, Zod, what can you write? You can write the word Zed, which means an enemy or an opponent or an adversary. And once again, we have an invisible E here. And then you can write Zede'ab, which means waterproof. So once again, that word ob. So it means adverse to water. Zede'ab. All right. What's next? Okay, next we have the word, the letter ta. There it is. Which is another one that makes the T sound. And ta is a connector. So, yeah, both the right and the left, you would connect it. Okay, so what can you write? You can write the word toss, which means bald. By the way, don't feel like you have to, know how to write after just watching this video one time, because it might be good to pace yourself. Like, when we were taking our Farsi college class, we would learn 4 letters every day, and then we'd go home and practice them, and then we'd come back the next day and learn 4 more letters. So you might want to do something like that, where after you learn 4 letters from this video, you pause and then you practice. Just so you don't feel bad if you can't get it all after the first watch. Alright, the next is za, which has the same form except it is making the Z sound again. So it is a connector. Okay, so what can you write? Alright, za. I think I have to use letters I haven't taught you again to give you an example. You can write khoda hafez. No. Hafez. Alright, khoda hafez means God keep you, but it's the way of saying goodbye. And we have an invisible O vowel up here, khoda hafez, and then an invisible value here. And here's your za. Khoda hafez. Okay. Our next letter is Ain. And Ain makes a sound that we really don't have in English. It's like the that comes from like the center of your throat. And Ain is interesting because it has a very different looking form for each of its things. So it's a connector. And as you can see, its different forms all look pretty different from each other. So now, you can write the word eshq, which means love. And you have your invisible here. And you can write the word ashna, which means acquaintance. Ashna. And that has its own invisible here. Ashna. Alright. Oh, and the word odd. That means like the feeling of being ashamed. Okay, the next one is called bang. And that is also not really a sound that we have in English. Bang. But it also comes from like the center of your throat. So it has the same form as Ain, except with a dot at the top. Ain, Ain. Alright, so what can you write with the word Ain? The letter Ain, I mean. You can write the word dog, which means hot, like something really hot. You can write the word God, which means cave. So, hear the difference. Odd, God, odd. Alright, you can write the word bog, which means a garden. And you can write the word gauze, which means goose. Alright. Oh man, look what I've done with my caps. Okay. Next is fe. And fe makes the F sound. Fe's also a connector. Alright, so what can you write with the word fe? You can write the word phase, which means phase, like phase yek, phase do. Phase 1, phase 2. You can write the word fosh, which means overt, or something that's obviously seen. And if you put it in a verb like fosh kardan, that's like to leak a secret. Alright, next we have goth. Again, not a sound that we, often use in English, which is GH, like qa, which comes from like the back of your mouth. So qa looks a lot like fe, except with 2 dots. Donochte. Okay, so what can we write with qaf? You can write the word agha, which means sir. So, like, you can put this in front of anyone's name to say, like, Mr., for example. Agha. Alright. Let's switch up our colors here. Next, we have cough. Cough. And cough makes the K sound. It's also a connector. So the initial looks like this. The middle looks like this. The final connected looks like this. And the final separate looks like this. Cough. So now we can write the word kar, which means work, like a job. And we can write the word kard, which means knife. And we can write the word kart, which means card. Okay, and next we have goth, which looks like cough, except it has a little line over here. Goth makes the G sound. So also a connector, exactly the same except it has this little line on the top. Alright, so what words can you make? You can make the word gauze, which means gas. Not the gas you put in your car, like another kind of gas. And you can write garage, which is the part of your house, garage. Alrighty. And next, we have the letter lam, which makes the L sound. So lam is a connector. It looks a lot like Aleph because it's just one long line. The difference is that lam is a connector and Aleph is a non-connector. So that's how you're going to tell the difference. Okay. So here, this word uses both Aleph and lam. Talab. Okay, so this is Aleph. You see you couldn't connect it to lam, but lam could connect to Aleph from the left. Talab. And that means like a pond or a lagoon. And you can also write the word sol, which is the word for year. Okay, next we have meme, which makes the M sound. And meme is a connector. So what can you write with the word meme? You can write the word mast, which means drunk. Then you have your invisible ah vowel here, mast. You can write the word most, which means yogurt, which is eaten with a lot of Persian meals. You can write the word damad, which means like a bridegroom. It's also the word for son-in-law. And you can write the word mar, which means a snake. Oh, and you can write the word sham, which means dinner, and bomb, which means roof, and esm, which means name. And then esm has a e vowel there, and they represented it at the beginning with an aleph without the hood on it. All right, so next we have, switch colors here, noon. Noon. And noon makes the sound N. And it is a connector. Forgetting my noon here. Yeah, the first two parts look like be, but then at the end, it becomes like rounder. Okay. And with the letter noon, you can write non, which means bread. You can write nom, which means name, except it's a more elevated kind of name than esm. Like, esm is what you would say for, like, my name is Ron. Esme man Rane. Nom is more like something like Bename Khodavand, like in the name of God. So it's much more elevated. You can write the word John. Okay, this is a very important word in Farsi. It means life, but you can add it to somebody's name to say like a dear. Like if I want to say dear Neda, like talking to my friend, I would say Neda John, Fariba John. And if you're talking to like a really intimate person, like a family member or your shohar or hamsar, your husband or wife, you would change this to June, which is the much more affectionate version of John. And I will teach you this later. All right. What else? Right. You can write the word nadan, which is the adjective for stupid. And yeah. All right, now I'll teach you that. Vav. So vav makes the V sound. So vav is also a non-connector, so you can only do it from the right side. What can we write with vav? We can write Vala Motamed, which is a last name, which means the most trustworthy person. Vala Motamed. And you have this ain here making a sound like Vala Motamed. O, A, E. Oh no, the S here. And you can write the word gov, which means cow. All right. So the letter vav is also used for the vowel u. So it's the same, except if it's in the initial form, you put an aleph in front of it and then you put vav. But then otherwise, it looks the same in the word, but it makes the u sound. So examples of that, like kur, which means blind, and u. This is like the pronoun for she or he. And then we have paru, which means like a snow shovel. Bu, which means like a smell. And then shorug, which is the word for beginning. Shorug, ain. 3 dots, and an invisible O value. Shoru. Okay. What is next? Alright, next we have he. This is an important one, he. Specifically, it's called hedocheshm. So this one also makes the H sound. And it's also interesting because each of the forms looks very different. So the initial form looks like this. And this is actually why it's called hedocheshm, because the other is hejimi, which looks like jim. But hedocheshm means like H, 2 eyes, because the first form looks like a face that has 2 eyes on it. Okay, but yeah. Alright, the middle looks like this. The final connected looks like this. And if it's just at the end, disconnected, it looks like this. So what are some words you could write with that? You could write shah, which means king, and it has this H sound at the end, shah. And then you can write the word ma, which means moon or month. And you could write the word Tehran. Oops, I missed. Tehran. And that is the name of the capital of Iran. And then you have your invisible eh down here. Tehran. All right. So he, this letter, is also used to make the eh vowel sound. Except it only does that for the final connected and the final separate. So if the S sound is at the beginning, you would use either Aleph or Ain to mark that it's there. And then you would just know, if you know the word, that it has the invisible eh down here. If it's in the middle, you usually wouldn't show it. You just write this little dash underneath the vowel. But then if the sound eh is at the final connecting or the final separate, you can use the same thing here as hedocheshm, and it'll make the S sound instead of the H sound. So I'll give you an example. So the word ruze, which means fasting, like not eating food or water. So now it's making eh instead of he. Ruze, khanevade, which means family. You have your invisible E down here. See, that's what it looks like when E is in the middle. You don't write a different letter, you just assume there's a sound there. Khanevade. Khane, which means house. So you got it at the end. Khanevade. Erade, which means volition. So here you got the Aleph at the beginning, and you've also got the eh at the end. Erade. Shane. Shane means shoulder or comb, like for your hair. Alright, next I'll teach you about ye. Actually, I better just start on the next page. Ye. And ye makes the Y sound, like yes. So it is written with 2 dots under it. and it's a connector. Yeah. Except at the end, it turns into a swirly thing. Okay, yeah. What can you write? You can write the word yar, which means lover. And you can write the word yad, which means memory. All right, so yeah, this letter, it's also used to write the vowel E. And the only difference is, like U, when you put it in the initial form, you also put Aleph in front of it. But then other than that, it looks the same as the Y sound. So you just gotta know whether if it's the E or the Ye. All right, some examples. You can write the word Iran, which is the country where they speak Farsi. You can write the word Zendegi, which means life. And then you have your invisible zen, de, gi. And then at the end, it's making the sound E. Zendegi, azadi, azadi, which means freedom. And then shirini, which is the name for like sweets, like candy. Shirini. And then divane, which is the adjective for calling someone crazy. Divane. All right, those are good examples. Actually, that was all the letters. So now I'm just gonna give you some final notes. First note is about vowels. So you probably noticed that there are 3 vowels that have letters for them. There's the A, the U, and the E. But then there are 3 other vowels, the A, the E, and the O, which are usually invisible in written Farsi. But if you're actually trying to write them down so that, you know, a Farsi learner would know what the sound is, the A is represented by a little dash above the letter, the consonant letter, the E by a line under it, and the O by a little vav mark above the letter, instead of like vav down here, you know? So, some examples. All right, for A, you could write, all right, and if any of these are at the beginning, you can represent them with either, you know, Aleph or Ain, and then you just have to know which one it's actually representing. So for A, there's the example of Aleph, which means grass. So you have an A here and an A here, Aleph. And then Laqab. This means nickname, Laqab. For E, you could write Reza, which is a common male name in Farsi. And you have the little E sound down there. And then Emruz, which means today. All right, for O, you could write Omid, which means hope, and it's also a common boy's name, Omid. Quran, like the book, Quran, Quran. And then also, oh yeah, the word khanom, which means miss. So, like we said, for Mr. you would say aga. For Miss, you would say khanom. And it has the little invisible O there. And khoda, which means God, which is in that word for goodbye, khoda hafiz. All right, other notes. Let's see. Oh yeah, I have to teach you about accents. So there are some accents in Farsi that kind of change the sound of the word. One of them is called tashdid. And tashdid looks like this. And tashdid tells you to like stress the sound of a word. So for example, the word mojarrad. And then you have your invisible O, your invisible E, then another invisible E. So if you wanted to like transliterate this, it would be like mo, ja, rad. And you put like 2 R's because it's saying you gotta stress this re. Mojarrad. And that means single, like the opposite of married. And then you have dovom with an invisible O up here. Dovom means second, like first, second, third. Do, vom. And you gotta stress that vav. The next one is called tanveen. And tanveen is like an ending that you put at the end of adverbs. So it's like the letters ly in English. And it looks like an Aleph with 2 dashes above it, but sometimes they don't write the 2 dashes. So that's used in the word واقعاً. واقعاً. Oh, there's an Aleph here. واقعاً, which means really. So you can see that Y sound. So you say something like من واقعاً سیر شدم, which means I really got full, like if you just ate a really big meal. And then it's in the word hatman. You got your invisible ah up there. And over the meme as well, hatman, which means definitely. Like, are you coming to that party tonight? Hatman, definitely. And daqiqan. Daqiqan. Invisible a, e, tanveen. And this means exactly. Like if someone says something you really agree with, and then you say daqiqan, exactly. All right, what's the other? Oh yeah, and there's an accent that kind of looks like an ain above a stem, which kind of like the ain as a normal letter just tells you gotta pause. So for example, in the word dine bahai, which is the name of a religion that started in Iran. You got your invisible e here, dine bahai, and then you hear that pause before you make the e sound, bahai. All right, what else? All right, just a note about practicing. So if you're serious about learning Farsi, it's important to memorize like the shapes of all these letters, or else it's going to be very hard. So what I would recommend is don't try and learn them all at once, like watching this video one time through, but maybe after you learn four letters, pause and do something like this, where you just practice writing the letters over and over until, you know, you have them memorized in your mind. This is actually the notebook I had when I was in Farsi class. And after each class, I would just go home and dedicate 1 page or half a page just to one letter. And if you do that there's a pretty good chance that you will have these forms memorized. So, well, that's the end. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this was useful. Merci, Khodafis. Okay, one more thing, guys. I realized I made a slight mistake at the beginning while I was showing you these letters be, te, and pe, which have the same shape. So these are all the forms, and I think I wrote the final connected as something like this, but that's actually wrong. I should have written it like this. So there's this line that separates it from the letter, and then the dot is actually supposed to go in the middle, not the tip here. So te, final connected, would be like this. Pe would be like this. So for example, that last name, Sabet, which means steadfast, looks like this. So I hope you don't get confused and write it like this with the two dots on the top, because that's wrong, and you need this line here. Another example, the word nobat, which means turn. Like if you're playing a game and you can say nobate mane, it's my turn. And then mast, which means drunk. And then laqab, which means nickname. Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you learned, and maybe as a first practice, you could try writing your name. So have fun writing in Farsi.